Hello and welcome to Points of Interest. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, along with my co-host, James, over here.
Hey, guys.
If you're new to the show, each week we come to you with stories from around the internet. Gaming, fun topics, tech, whatever. Yeah. You can get this on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher for the audio versions, and YouTube and VidMe for the video versions. Make sure to follow us at IR Games. Stay up to date on the latest things that we're doing.
That's Twitter.
That's Twitter.
That's Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter.
In case you're curious.
But to start the show today, we have a special guest.
Yeah, we got a special guest. This is a buddy of ours called TVBplays. He hails from England or the UK or just that conglomerate over there.
He hails from not America.
Mars.
There you go. So if you could say your town name, but I honestly, it would just sound made up to me because I'm an ignorant
It
American.
is Norwich in the county of Norfolk.
Nope.
Hey, we have a Norfolk.
There is a Norfolk, Nebraska.
Except for they pronounce it
Yes,
Norfolk,
I've
even though it's
heard of
spelled
it.
with an L.
Yeah. All right, so TVB, we're going to call you TVB the whole time, just so
That's
you're prepared for
absolutely
that. So tell us about, he's got his own channel. Tell us about why you got started doing YouTube.
I was bored.
Fair enough.
I mean, that's kind of the main thing. I watched a load of YouTube and I got really bored. I was like, I'm literally doing nothing with my life. So I thought, well, I'll give this a go. So I've had like 3 channels over the years, and
What happened to the
the
first
first two, oh god, the first two were terrible. The first one especially was absolutely bonkers. I made a vlog where I got attacked by a giant cucumber, and I turned into a midget man because I ate an off chocolate bourbon, which is a biscuit, by the way.
What? Hang on.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
What do we got to do to see this video?
Yeah.
Well, you just have to send me your bank details, and
Oh, that's
I will
good.
send them to you later. It's terrible.
That sounds amazing. Is that the same one I saw you post in our group with the charity where you
No.
cut off all your hair? That's a
That
different
was the
thing.
second one.
Ah.
The first one was called Wol Got It, which I got from the Social Network movie. Have you seen that? We got Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
His blog is called Zuck on It, and I got my name from that for some reason. It's my surname Bolgrith. Anyway,
That's
and
good.
then that one was that video bloke, which was more vlogs.
Right on.
Sweet. So what if there's people that are listening that haven't seen your channel or checked you out before, give us like a brief synopsis of what you do on your channel.
Okay, I play video games badly. At the enjoyment of other people, really. That's pretty much it. That's me.
That's fair. So we've got TVB on here. We're doing something a little different today. If you guys are normal podcast listener/viewers, we don't have a lot of gaming news this week. We had tried to do one last week and got messed up, and we're recording this at a different time than normal, so we decided to do it a little bit differently. And so we're gonna start just with like some general topics, right? Because for me as an American, I've never really got to meet a lot of British people. Are you guys all called British, or is that for different regions?
It's very confusing because like United Kingdom and Great Britain are ever so slightly different. One of them includes Northern Ireland, and I can never, for the life of me, remember which one it is.
Okay.
So one's just Scotland, England, and Wales, and one's got Northern Ireland.
Okay, so you're not technically. Are you technically British then, or European?
I am, yes, and English, yes.
English. Okay,
The
I
most
always
English.
assumed that English
And German,
and
but-
British were the same people. So that's it. That's
Well,
a new thing for me.
you can be British but not English.
Okay, it's like a rectangle square thing right there.
Yeah.
All right,
All English people are British, but not all British people are English.
there you go. I like
Yes, that makes sense.
it. All right, so
Oh,
we've already transitioned into our first topic, which is like U.S. versus like UK stereotypes, right? I never get to,
Yeah.
well, I do now, but before our channel, I never got to interface with people from overseas, and now I get to do it every day. So
Same here, yeah.
we're going to start with stereotypes that I put them in here backwards just to throw you for a loop. But so we're going to start with stereotypes. I forgot the word already.
Good word.
And we're going to
Is
start with
that a
stuff that we,
stereotype of Americans? They,
yeah,
memory.
yeah, they have terrible
Everyone
memory.
has ADHD.
Yeah, everybody.
And
So-
they'll all willingly admit it, apparently.
So in the UK, we always see it portrayed as like crappy weather. Like it basically just rains all the time. Is that about right?
You know, like 90% of the time. Summertime is 3 days, and I think we've already had ours this year.
Wow. So does it get super hot there, or?
Very occasionally, and when it does, we're never prepared. Bear in mind, everyone in England always complains about the weather, whatever it is. Okay? If it's really cold, oh no, it's too cold, I can't wait for summer. Summer, oh god, I'm so hot, I can't breathe, I need it to be winter. Or at least, colder. We're never happy.
Right. So how hot does it get? Like in a typical summer time period, how hot does it get?
I think the last heat wave we had got up to like 25 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but
I say, were you
I'm looking it up. Don't you worry.
it
Wow.
was damn hot for us.
Wow. That's 77 degrees, but that's like a really hot time
We
for
passed
you.
that yesterday. We got to 86 degrees Fahrenheit yesterday.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
What's that in Celsius then?
yeah,
Yeah,
86, that's
and,
30 Celsius. And that's a normal spring day for us. Like it'll hit
we would melt.
That's a cool summer day.
yeah, so our hot summers here it'd probably be like, I would say 105 would be pretty hot for us, like 105, which is 40 degrees Celsius.
Good God, man. How do you live?
Inside with air conditioning.
Thin clothes and shorts.
Are you on Tatooine? I don't have 2 suns.
What are your winter temperatures like?
That's a good question. I don't really pay attention to those ones.
Have you ever been around during winter? Or?
You guys get snow and
Used
stuff,
to it
right?
every day. We haven't had snow in years, but I haven't been in snow in years.
Okay.
But I don't know, a few degrees below zero, I guess.
Okay. All right. That's
It's a little bit below.
we
30.
also get below 0 in Fahrenheit, which is much different than your 0.
Even worse.
That would be like negative
Your
17.
0 is our 32.
Yeah, that's pretty much our whole winter. We'll sit around in the teens, so that's in the negatives for you guys. So that's
So, what would be ideal weather for you?
yeah.
Oh, see, that's tough now because I love being a tanner. I love tanning myself, getting my shirt off, just flouncing around in public. But if it's too hot, I will go bright as a strawberry. So I don't know, maybe low 20s Celsius.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's pretty good. That's like
That's fair. I could
that's
deal with
mid
that.
60s, upper 70s for us.
That's also my ideal temperature.
Yes, it is. All right, we're good there then.
I
I
don't
just
have to
can't
have AC
imagine
on.
living in a place where it tops out at like 75 degrees.
It honestly sounds wonderful.
Oh, it sounds amazing, but then it's
Weather over there sounds like it'd be perfect.
yeah, you like
Raining
rain.
most of the
That's
time.
why we go on holiday so much because we need it. We need more vitamin D.
That's fair. I love how
enough.
you say vitamin versus vitamin. That just sounds really cool. I always wanted to say
we haven't even discussed saying words differently, have we?
All right, so next one, we'll move on from weather here. Everyone has bad teeth, right? Like that's a
True.
No one
Move
goes
on.
to the. Do you guys not have dentists?
Say why?
No, we do, but I think there's like this generic fear here of dentists. Like, have you seen The Little Shop of Horrors?
Yeah.
At all? Okay. There's a dentist in that. He literally pulls people's teeth out without anesthetic, knees them in the nuts so their mouth opens, pull their tooth out, that kind of thing. That's at least how I imagine all dentists. So I think, we just don't
I feel like
like
it's-
them as a species.
Don't love them as a species.
Wait a minute. Like for an entire country, an entire species of people to base their dentistry off of one thing,
That's impressive.
like that just seems
Can you
poor.
think of any good
Like,
famous dentists?
That's fair. I mean, I don't like dentists,
anybody seen
but I'll like brush my
Edward
teeth and
Scissorhands? Nobody gets their haircut. Like
stuff. Well, I mean, we've seen past pictures of TVB. That may actually be true. He may be afraid of scissors.
Yeah. That's why I do all mine myself, as you can tell. Although the
Right.
wife did this one, I'm very impressed with.
There you go. Well, see, that's why you marry, because they do things better than you, right?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
why I
she
picked
gave me a
mine.
CV and she was like, "Yes, I'm good at hairdressing. I cook." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, go on."
That's awesome. All right, so I've heard this before, and maybe it's just like in certain regions in the UK, but like the royal family is a pretty big deal, right? They're like celebrities. Is that accurate? Or
Well, I mean, we are their citizens, so they are kind of a big deal. But I mean, a lot of people love the royal family a lot more than a lot more than others. I mean, I'm okay with them. I just for years and years thought they did nothing.
Yeah, so I've heard it's a pretty
all.
kind of a polarizing topic, the British family, because it's like, oh, they're just like the face of a country that we pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they're on our money. I mean, it must be important.
Does your money change as like new royal family members like come up? Like as people start to grow up and become princes?
I imagine so, but in my lifetime we've had the same queen, so
It hasn't happened yet.
Well, I guess that's
For a lot of
true.
people's
I'm thinking about
lifetimes,
well,
it's been
I'm
the
just
same
thinking
queen.
like because we have presidents on our dollar bills, right? And we've got some old presidents. Like a lot of our bills haven't changed the faces.
Oh yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
Ever. So I just curious, like, oh yeah, the second prince now has his own 50-cent piece or something. There's nothing.
Nah,
like that.
it's literally all Queen Elizabeth II at the moment.
Okay.
But I've got a coin collection, so I know they changed the faces, of course, like King George.
These are the things that I think
all of
about.
these.
I just
mean, it's fair.
I
I would not be excited to see our current president on a piece of currency.
Nope.
But I'd imagine he will try before the stint
hard
is
pass.
over.
Hard pass. Okay,
Maybe on like a bronze coin because it would kind of be the similar color.
just put him. Yeah, it's about.
I don't
right.
know if we'll make a new
Yeah,
coin.
one
that's
thing
worth
to
nothing.
show that people love the royal family, or at least are very interested in their lives, is like the other day. There was this mass meeting called by the royal family for everyone who works for them, like intimately in their buildings and whatever. And everyone was like, "Oh, what's happened? What's happened? Has the Queen died? Is the Queen just abolishing the government because of all the that's happening in politics?" And it turns out, no, her husband's just stopping doing like public engagements because he's mid-90s. So
That's awesome.
everyone.
That's what I expected.
Yeah.
That's like what I've heard is that when things happen, it's a big hubbub for everybody. And yes, it's a hubbub.
Yeah, I like that word. Yeah.
All right. So another thing for the UK, we've got a couple more here on our list. There's almost like everything we've seen, like the roads are either like brand new paved or they were paved like 600 years ago, and it's basically just hunks of rock and everything's like grassy fields and old stone walls and everything's just old. Is that parts of it?
Well, kind of. I mean, I live in Norfolk, as I said, and Norfolk is famous for like farmland, tractors, combine harvesters. Everyone speaks like this down in Norwich, right, boy? And I obviously don't, which is odd, but we do have regular roads.
it's everything I see, like in just like in media and stuff, when you see people going overseas like to Scotland or Ireland, and it's just these big old grassy fields,
Brick roads.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Actually, I know what you mean. Well, I've also been to Ireland and Scotland, and yes, they have roads as well. I think it's just they pick the idyllic spots to show.
Yeah, so
in this sort of thing.
it kind of feels like it's like London exists as the only city, and then everything else is just grassy fields. If anyone wants to do anything, they just like ride
It's the
into
only
London.
city of importance.
They jump on their horse and buggy and just stroll on into
Take
London.
3 days to get there.
Yeah, up in their Model A and just
3 people die on the way. You know, it's
Good.
we
All right,
lost one to
so
dysentery.
I've got one here, and so Princess Di was always like a huge thing, right? She was even big over here, and we never get excited about royal families. So
No, we don't.
So were you were alive, obviously, when Princess Di died. So was it like
I was young, but yeah.
a huge
Yeah.
deal? And like, was she like really a big cultural icon as we imagine her to be?
She was. Like, she did so many things for charity, and she was supposed to be really nice and really kind and everything. I, however, was terrified of her. I don't know why. Her face just scared me.
Because it was too nice
Because,
looking,
like I said,
right?
Yeah, possibly, or maybe it was the pointy nose. I don't know. But because I was quite young when she died, so I didn't really experience any of the good stuff. Now I've got over it a bit more. So, you know, she's a good person. Was to me, I think.
Yeah, it always.
slip.
I remember when because I was. I think she died in what 97. Does that
She
sound
died a
right?
little while ago.
She died in 97.
Hang on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was 4.
Yeah, I would have been 6. And so I remember the
okay.
news and like the video camera. I just remember like the image of like in the bridge. All right, she died in the bridge, right?
Yeah,
Bro, I was 6.
I know. I just and so I can like see the video in my head, but we didn't even like know who she was. So it was just one of those things that my wife actually came up with that one. She helped us out with these questions. So now we're going to flip the tables, and you can ask us a couple things about U.S. stereotypes.
Yes. Well, I mean, in almost everything that I've ever seen American-wise, everyone's very loud. I mean, I'm being quite loud now, but I mean, like...
I think it's funny
have
you find that
inside
you
voices.
yourself are being quite loud right now.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think
Sorry.
so.
Yeah, we're loud people, I would say, all of us.
I just think
Every one of us.
we have a reputation for New York City, which is a city that never sleeps
Yeah.
because everyone's so dang loud.
True.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's obviously there's going to be different cities that are different ways, and there's my wife's from a town of 1,000 people, I think,
On a good day.
on a good day, like if everyone's in town.
Who's passed recently.
But so my mom is from a town out in western Kansas, which I know doesn't sound real either. The little town's called Timken, and there was
Oh God,
there's like
Toto lives there. Tell me, like,
No, he lives in
Boy, howdy.
liberal Kansas. That's where that's from. And so my mom's town was like 80 people. It was basically a grain elevator, which
Jeez.
I don't know if you know what that. If you don't know what a grain elevator is, you can look it up. And then Catholic church. And that was it. There was like there's a couple like trashed like 50-year-old homes there that are just dilapidated, haven't been lived in for a long time. But that's where my mom's from.
crazy.
And so she went to like a community high school, and she graduated with 13 people in her class. And so that's pretty typical of that part of the country. And then on the other side, you've got places like Chicago and Los Angeles and New York City, which are just, they have nightlife and they've got millions and millions of people.
full of people.
And the population density is ridiculous. And yeah, we are loud. Farmers out in western Kansas, not very loud, but people from cities and
Depends on how angry they are.
that's true. That's that actually transitions into another point, which we'll talk about. Actually, all of this stuff here.
Well, it does really roll nicely into each other, doesn't it?
Actually, do it all in one sentence.
Yeah. Well, the next one is again in these same things that I usually watch, because like you, I've not really spoken to many Americans before I'd made this channel and started actually speaking to people. Most people seem to be easily angered, especially if you happen to be on their land and they don't want you on their land. But kind of, is that the case? You don't seem very easily angered to me.
You know, it's boy, there are certain situations where I get into that it's a switch flip, and driving is a big one for both of us.
Yeah.
You cut me off on the road and it's over. I have lost all sense of decency and like moral values.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for your family. I'm coming for your
This
friends.
is my road.
Yeah, and so there are definitely times where I can be
Yes.
easily angry. Sports for me is another big one.
Yeah.
It's
I think
just
it's part of like, I don't know where it started, but it's how we were raised, especially with driving. Like my dad taught me to drive, and he'd say it jokingly, but he'd also respect his own rule. He'd call it "He who is biggest owns the road."
Yes, I've heard that one.
Yep. And so my last job, I drove big box trucks, and now I drive a big pickup truck, and so I feel fine driving. I'm like, oh, you just get out of my way unless you're a semi. And that's my rules when I drive.
Yeah.
But I just think, I don't know.
yeah.
Everybody's got a hot button issue. I think it's
Okay.
just you pick the stance you take and you stick
Yeah.
to it very vehemently. So
Yeah.
driving, land, sports, guns, politics, like all these things.
Yes.
If
Those are the
there's
key
extremes.
points.
There's no middle ground anywhere.
Right. I always wonder if that's like an American thing or if everyone else is, or if you can actually like have civil conversations about things and not just blow up in people's faces immediately.
You can if you're not talking to other Americans.
Okay. All right. That's the important thing. I would agree that we are probably easily angered. Not all the time.
Okay.
Like
I
I could
think
go through
everyone is
I could go
occasionally,
through
you
a
know.
day without being angry. I think I've done
day.
it a couple times.
The next day is
I have
just-
a job that has very good points and also very frustrating points. And it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll just avoid those bad parts of my job. It's like, well, then I'd have to quit my job because there's just like unavoidable things that I have to deal with. And so I have learned how to process my anger in better ways. Like I hit things or I punch. Like,
not people.
not people.
Not people.
But like
Very
I'll,
important.
Unless it's a semi.
hit my desk or I'll like mute my phone and scream out loud or just stuff like that because I just like dealing with
you get to work
idiots
at home?
for me. Yeah, I work from home, so I don't even have to put on pants for my day. So that's a nice
that
thing.
must relax you.
Yeah, it helps
no
me.
end,
It
like-
helps me to find ways to vent anger because I'm in my space already, so I don't have to.
I mean, I'm not wearing pants or trousers right now, so I'm very relaxed.
oh
I
my!
was like, wait a minute, what's the difference between those two things?
I was gonna say you say pants and
Zing.
trousers; those two things are the same to us. Well, no one around here says trousers.
No one says trousers.
but I mean,
Well,
that's-
pants are underwear to us, so
well, no, I definitely wear pants then.
Yeah,
I just don't wear.
I 100%
Shorts.
wear pants,
Yeah, I wear
even when I'm
pants.
showering.
Wow, pants is underwear.
like
I've never heard that
specific
one.
shower pants.
I guess that's part where it comes underpants.
I get. Yeah, that's. I suppose so. But then
Oh, we
they-
call them that as well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pants
but
is
you
more
just
casual.
you shorten it to pants.
It's just interesting. I've never I guess now I know when people say pants and they're from overseas, it's like, oh, you mean underwear,
Running around with just my pants on.
right?
Also, you've just made
pantaloons.
underpants make so much more sense because it's under your pants.
Right, exactly.
Genius.
Genius.
Exactly.
All right, what's next?
Like sidewalk. That works as well because you're walking on the side of the road.
yeah, but then
Hey.
what about driveway? Because you park in your driveway and you drive on a parkway. Or are those just
I
big
don't know.
American
Now,
terms?
now you're just going
it.
mad.
It's like, we don't have driveways in Europe.
They have driveways. Do you have parkways?
No, we have mud roads.
Mud roads. That's awesome. We have dirt roads and sand and
Dirt road, gravel road.
gravel road, that kind of thing.
We don't have sand roads. Those are beaches.
We don't have them like where we live because we live in the city.
Yeah.
But we live in a city of like 2 million
Of
people.
course.
It's not that big.
Well, million.
Right.
That's probably a million.
Maybe.
The next one I was going to ask you. It's not how I feel anymore. You know, it's what it used to be like. Like again, before I started speaking to Americans, this was kind of one of the stereotypes, and some may argue with recent political things going on, this might have reared its ugly head again. But there is a slight stereotype that a lot of Americans are slightly xenophobic.
Here's
Is that
the play on that is it's like a squeaky wheel. I would say most of America's not,
Yeah.
but there's
good?
just
Good.
the-
That's what I thought.
it's a very vocal minority.
Yep.
It's
and that's the problem.
it's usually the ones that don't live
Yeah.
in big cities. It's kind of
They're the loud, easily angered ones.
Yeah.
they are everything on this list.
yeah.
Like
Right.
when something comes out, they come out with torches and pitchforks. Like, nope, this is America. We don't bring other people in here. It's like, well, I mean, that's not really fair to say, is it? Like,
yeah, it's very region based for sure. Like where we're at, we're in a pretty diverse. Well, not where we're at because we live in the suburbs, which is very whitewashed.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. It is what it is.
we probably live in the most whitewashed area of Omaha.
But there's definitely a lot of areas in Omaha specifically that are very diverse. My wife works at a low-income high school, like in the city, right? Like the city you see on TV and like gang shows and stuff like that. That's kind of like where she works, and it's a lot better than where we were in Kansas City. Like in Kansas City, we lived in the ghetto, and so we've seen a lot of racism and things like that from that. But her classroom is really interesting because she at her school they have 46 different languages that they speak, which is unbelievable.
Wow.
Omaha is actually considered a gateway city, so refugees from third world countries and civil wars and things like that can end up here. And along with a few other cities, which is weird because we're landlocked. We're right in the middle of the country, and yet we get a ton of refugees. So she's got people from not Taiwan because they can't call it Taiwan, but Chinese Taipei, and there's other countries I've never even heard of that have people here speaking their own language. Kuni. That's a language that's
So I've heard that name, probably from you.
Probably from me. So it's very interesting. So she doesn't deal with a lot of racism there because there's a whole lot of diversity. But there's definitely places if you go down south, you're going to deal with a whole lot of almost everyone is going to be like that.
The main stereotype, I think.
Oh, it's 100% true. It's you're going to go down there and see Confederate flags driving around. You know what Confederate flags are, right?
Do the old stars and bars.
Yeah, stars and bars.
That's the one.
It's not great. It's not a part of our history. People like to be like, oh man, I gotta protect my flag because that was part of the state flag of Georgia, I think, for a while, which is not good. And so it's down south. It's a lot different. Somewhere like New York City is going to be a lot more tolerant because there's a ton of culture there, and everyone's just kind of whatever.
I mean, they have to be.
Yeah, it's like you can't get in a cab without seeing
proximity.
somebody of a different race, and so you're not gonna be able to get by if you're a true xenophobe there. I don't get to hear that term very often in my daily life because normally people just say racist or racism.
Yep.
So it's fun when you say xenophobic and we say
I
xenophobic.
think the new buzzword is racial insensitivity.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, I like it.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, it's
That
a new
kind
way
of
to
thing.
say that you're a racist without sounding like you're a racist.
Yeah. So no,
Oh, okay. I don't like it
It is
then.
true. I'm guessing it's probably not like that everywhere. Everyone else is pretty accepting of people
Yeah.
for the most part. Although after Brexit, I guess there's been a lot of those issues coming out that weren't
Yeah.
there before.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it kind of happens everywhere. You've always got certain people that are xenophobic, aren't they? And you know, it's tough with something like that because with Brexit, for example, because lots of people aren't or didn't vote for Brexit because of those reasons, but they've been labelled as such, and people who say they didn't vote for those reasons did actually vote for those reasons. It's all higgledy-piggledy and nothing nobody ever wants to listen to, which is fine by me.
I love that you said iggledy-piggledy. That makes me happy. Like I'm gonna try and make it like a part of my life now to say that at least like once a week.
At work.
Like at work on the phone, be like, oh yeah, your computer looks a little iggledy-piggledy. Let's see if we can fix that.
I'll send you a new word every week. I have to
Perfect.
try and fit
I
it
love
in.
it.
I'll admit it does not sound nearly as cool coming out of your mouth as it does coming out of his.
Yeah, I mean the accent has a little bit to do with it.
I don't know. It sounds quite natural in your tongue.
It sounds like Piggly Wiggly, which was it used to be a grocery chain back in the day.
Oh, I thought it was a cartoon or something.
I think it spun out of one.
I think so. It makes me think of the
So I'm
little.
pretty sure it was.
Piglet from Pooh. I mean, that's what I think.
I think it was based off of
Piglet, yeah.
yeah, Piggly Wiggly supermarket company.
Oh yeah, that looks like a hog. That it would.
It still exists.
Huh. Well, there you go. Now we learned something. Piggly
Operating
Wiggly.
in the southern and midwestern regions
This
of the United
podcast
States.
brought to you by Piggly Wiggly.
LLC.
All right, what's the? I see one more on here. I'm curious to have you say it.
This again is from watching things like before even talking to Americans. He does with quotation marks for some reason. I only really ever saw vlogs from people, and they would either be in the fanciest of houses, massive apartments, that kind of thing, or they'd be in the smallest caravan you've ever seen in your life, or stuff from like. That was my phone, excuse me. Not necessarily from friends because they probably had a bit of money, but like the first apartment they moved into, massive. Most TV shows like that. So I was wondering, like, that's not realistic, right? Most of you don't live in massive houses.
I just want to clear something up. There's another cultural difference. What, in your terms, is a massive apartment? Like, do you guys operate in square feet?
Probably square meters.
I am hopeless at measurements of all shapes and sizes, so I won't be able to.
Okay, so when you go
I can say a
looking for an
two-bedroom house or
apartment,
something.
they say, "Hey, I've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that's blank size." Do they tell you a number, or they just let you kind of figure it out?
They don't talk to me. No, they don't tell me numbers. But
That's
like
fair. So
from the
we
shows and stuff, what I imagine is like the gardens. Like if you just see it, a glimpse of it, they're huge. Like you could run a horse around in this garden. Their kitchen, it's you could probably have a slip and slide in there. That kind of size,
That's fair. So I've kind of like, this is just a little bit insight. I think that overall, everything we have is bigger over here.
Oh yeah. Should have a lot of space.
Because when you say massive apartment, I picture something smaller than what we have. When I hear massive, I think like 2,000 square foot apartment, like 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, massive gourmet kitchen, upstairs, downstairs, that kind of thing. There are definitely a lot of fancy houses in a lot of places.
I'm just looking up the size difference of the UK and the US. Like, the US is just so much larger.
That's true. There is a lot more like land mass.
United Kingdom is about 57% the size of California.
Whoa! 57% size of one state.
Of California.
Half the size of California. And there are 50 more states. Well, 49, whatever. Yeah, it's there's a lot of middle class. We live in middle class housing, more or less. My townhome, for example, 3-bed, 3-bath, 2 stories, got a basement. Not a finished basement because we're not
just a basement.
We're not wealthy. It's just a basement.
Oh, right.
And I realized
just
most
a hole
people,
in the ground.
Do you guys have basements where you're at?
That's a very good question. I don't think I've ever been in a house that does.
Wow.
Strange. My first.
I mean, I imagine people do.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, well, it's just funny because like my first thought when someone says they don't have a basement because of where I grew up is, well, where do you go when tornadoes happen? But I realize you probably don't have tornadoes.
Yeah.
I grew up in the middle of what's called Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
In America, and so tornadoes happen every year.
Everyone
it's just
had a
part of
basement.
your life. You're used to it, and so like, oh, you have a basement
Yeah.
you go to
We get nothing
when
like
tornadoes
that.
happen.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's a big one for me is not having a basement. So yeah, we've got there's big houses, and when you say caravans, what it describe to me a caravan? Because to me that's a car that you drive.
Oh, like the Dodge
see, that's a motorhome to me. A caravan, just like one of those that you attach to the back of your car, like you drag along.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's funny. We do have trailer homes, which are similar. They're like a little bit bigger.
That's probably
than a
what I
pole
mean.
behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's.
So we do have whole communities of trailer homes. Like they are just like parked next to each other. If you have a lot of money living in a trailer park, you have what's called a double wide, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just two of them.
Yep.
Oh,
They're very typically awful.
Yeah, it's typically not somewhere you want
Aspire to
to
live.
Yeah,
It's
right.
yeah, but it's gosh, it's hard to say. Like most people I know don't live in fancy houses. I'd say that's usually for the very, very wealthy.
or the
So-
people that have just
Okay.
made it to that point in their life. They've been
Yeah.
working their whole life, and now they
It's true.
finally bought a nice
They
home.
finally got the American dream, right? 2 kids and a white picket fence and a mortgage they can barely
Yeah.
afford.
Yep.
Yay, American dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. Those were
The
those were
American
good
something.
ones. That made me think. That's always important. So we've got here next up. We've got some questions here, just like
Yay, questions.
general conversation type of stuff.
New topics.
What movie? We were talking about movies the other day. What movie can you watch over and over without ever getting tired of? Jake, you go first.
Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints.
100%. The first Boondock Saints is one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't care what you say about it.
I've never seen it.
Oh my goodness.
You make me sad on like a spiritual level.
Spiritually
there.
You
sad.
don't want me to start a list of the films I haven't seen. You will throw me out of this podcast faster than you can
I'm
imagine.
sure I have a similar list of those movies because James and I talk all the time. Like, well, with like the new Alien movie coming out and the new Resident Evil movie coming out, and some of these movies that just everyone over here has seen at least. I'm like, oh, yeah, I never watched the first ones, and so
Okay, well, those ones,
That kind
for
of stuff.
examples, they're not too bad. Like I only watched Alien. No, I've never seen Alien. No.
Man.
But for example, I'll just give you a quick snippet. I've not seen Pulp Fiction, Terminator, or Die Hard.
I haven't seen Pulp Fiction.
What do you watch?
Myself, mostly. I have this big mirror on the wall. It's just kind of.
Oh,
not very
man.
interesting. It's the same
Those are
most days.
classics. Like,
Have you seen Pulp Fiction?
I know.
I have seen Pulp Fiction. It was on Netflix.
Oh, so did you watch it like a month ago?
I did watch it like a month or two ago. It was the first time I watched it. It's weird. If you don't,
It is weird.
If you don't know what Pulp Fiction is going into it, like do a little bit of research. It is not.
I have seen a couple of clips,
It's-
which we had to watch in
yeah.
like high
Everyone,
school, but-
everyone knows the clips, right? You've got some of the more famous clips in movies from there, but it is not just like a consistent 2-hour movie. Like it's not one. It's like 3 mini
Tarantino,
stories
isn't
that have. Yeah, they have 3 mini stories that tie together. And if you watch it and don't know that, when they get to the second part, you are really like thrown off. So like it was good. I liked it. I don't know if I would watch it again,
Yeah.
but I'd always
So it's
heard
like a cult classic.
like
that
yeah, everyone
everyone
knows
says
what
you've
Pulp
had to
Fiction
watch.
is.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like, I'm really into just cinematography stuff. I like digging around and looking at that stuff. And everybody, whenever I look up stuff like, oh, you had to have seen these old movies and learn this stuff. And I look at those and I'm like, I don't want to watch those. Those look like they're boring. You know why? Because they're not made recently, so they're in 4:3. They're super grainy and they're not in HD. I'm not super excited about that.
So for you, TVB, what movie could you watch over and over again? Like the movie that you would watch if you're sick at home and can't do anything else.
Whoa, I was really struggling with this because I don't know. I don't really watch that many movies because I usually get bored while watching them. But I was just thinking when you were talking about older movies, I thought Jackie Chan in, I can't remember the title exactly, but The Legend of Drunken Boxing or The Master of Drunken Boxing.
Oh.
It's absolutely fantastic.
I think I know which one you're talking
I
about.
don't think I've ever seen that.
It's so funny. I can't.
Drunken
it's
Master?
just Jackie Chan.
Drunken Master. That sound right? That sounds right to me. Yeah, Jackie Chan's always been Legend of Drunken Master. He
That's it.
He's always a fun guy. I just loved how good he was at martial arts. It's just not fair that he could do that and also act
It was the
above
thing,
average.
Because when you're a kid, like you
and sing.
Yeah, that's
What?
true. He can sing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he sings. Yeah.
What?
I mean, he sings in a weird accent.
Say, can we buy weird? He sings in his own accent.
It's a bit xenophobic, I think.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of my movie, because I don't have a problem with watching movies over and over again. I just said movies and movies.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, my parent, like, we watched a lot of movies, my parents and I, because I was an only child, and my dad hated watching movies a second time. So let's say we go down to local video store and we rented a movie, and I was like, I haven't seen it. But maybe my parents seen it or they don't remember that they've seen it. So we get it and we go home and we get about 10 minutes into it and Dad's like, oh, I've seen it. He stops it, takes it out, and we take it right back. He's like, what?
Wow.
What? You can't watch again? He's like, well, I already know what happens. Why do I want to watch it again? And I have tried countless times. My wife is a big movie rewatcher, and we can't like get through to him. Like he will not watch it again if he remember. Like if he gets 45 minutes into the movie, right? You're halfway done, and he remembers the ending. He shuts it off. He's done. He's not doing it again. He's like, it's a waste of my time. I'm like, wow, you are an old crotchety man.
I can see your dad being that way.
He's
What
very
about if
like-
he hasn't seen it, but he's pretty sure like he can guess what's going to happen? Does he stop it then, or does he watch the whole thing?
No, he'll watch the whole thing if he hasn't
Yeah.
seen it.
Once.
He's just very much once. He doesn't buy movies, right? He rents them. Because we still have a video store back home, which is actually pretty good. So that I just grew up in a culture where you didn't watch movies a second time. Because why? You already know what happens.
It's a good movie.
We
Yeah,
just
save the
rewatched Fantastic Beasts. It came out on Blu-ray a couple weeks ago, and so we watched that
Still haven't seen that.
last night.
I haven't
It's
either,
a
don't
great
feel bad.
movie. It's really well done. It's a little bit darker than the Harry Potter. Have you seen the Harry Potter movies?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
You said that really slowly. Like if I answer no, they might actually kick me out.
Of course, I have seen. I like magic, but so it's the same universe, obviously, but it's a very much a darker tone for it, and it clears that up real quickly for you.
I mean, we've got the DVD downstairs. Like we've borrowed it to watch it. We just haven't yet.
yeah, which I'm gonna get that. And so my wife is a big Hogwarts, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling fan, and so we watched it. And so it's a really good movie, but there's a lot of things in it that are there for like the first time, like the reveal of it, right? And then watching it again, you're like, oh, well, I already know what's gonna happen, so this part doesn't carry as much weight anymore. And so it's very hard to rewatch those kinds of movies.
So there's those certain kind of movies like have you seen Fight Club?
I have seen Fight Club.
Yes. All right, but it's just one of those movies like
But
you
you've
watch it
just
the first
broken
time.
the rule, man.
Yeah.
You watch it the first time, and you're like, oh wow, you get to the end,
Yeah.
and then you have to watch that a second time.
Yep.
You see the things you missed, but then the third time it's kind of like
Yeah. You don't go back
like
and
you
watch
just
that once
know
a
it
year.
was a great movie. You watched
Although
it. To see
I
the
had a
things you
bad
missed.
experience with Fight Club.
How'd you have a bad
'Cause
experience with Fight Club?
I think we were drinking while we watched it, and then it got to the end, and I was like, "Oh wow, that was really good. That was insane." But with my accent, that was weird. And
But
we
with
had
my
this
accent.
this little stuffed parrot in my uni house we called Balthazar, and my
As you
friend
do.
moved it without telling me, like while I left the room or something, and I was like, "Oh, where's Balthazar gone?" He's like, "What's Balthazar?" And they tried to break me by believing that I was like in my mind or something, or like I didn't exist, and it just after watching that, it just made me go insane.
That's
So-
amazing.
Oh my goodness! Like
I
that's
have only watched it twice, I think.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's all you need to watch. But let's
Yeah.
like a movie that makes you question your own existence. Inception.
Oh,
Like
right?
I watched Inception the first time.
Did you watch Inception, TVB?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
good. I love just Christopher Nolan movies in general. He's got a new one coming out soon.
Which one's his new one?
Dunkirk.
See, I've watched the trailers for Dunkirk. I've almost no interest in it because it's not a subject matter I'm like interested in, but it's Christopher Nolan, so I'll probably see it.
I haven't even
That right there.
heard of it.
You should look up the trailer for it because I feel like it might be more applicable to you than it is to us. But
Yeah, I'll check it out. In a bit.
yeah, but I watched Inception a second time in college, and I just remember that night and that whole next day, I'm like, shoot, is what I'm doing real? I'm not. I don't have anything to judge. I don't have
Yeah.
a totem. How do I know if I'm in the
Have you
real
seen
world?
Shutter Island?
Right.
It's like that as well.
Yeah, there you
Similar
go.
thing.
It is.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It is interesting. Gosh, I can't think of a movie that because I like to watch. I just like watching movies, and I have a huge binder of Blu-rays that's like 300 movies, and I'll pick them up and watch them. I like to go through the Resident Evil series. I like to just pound through those like once every couple of years. I've got all 5.
Hey, guess what?
What?
I don't think I've seen any Resident Evil movies.
I've only seen the first
That's
one.
fair.
Feel better.
It's almost a niche series as much as it should be.
I
That's why
have his
love that.
copies of Resident Evil, and I've still only watched the one.
I love Transformers, all of them. Doesn't care. Like everyone's like, "Oh man, but the story sucks. It's no good." I'm like, I don't care. It's awesome. It's mechanical
looks
robots
super cool.
fighting.
Yeah.
It looks great. That's
like,
all
the
I
premise
need.
is good, but the story.
The new one
I love
looks
the
like
first
fucking
one.
dope.
Yeah, the
But-
new one's great. I'm assuming it will be.
Yeah,
it
the
looks
new-
good.
the last
I
night.
actually really like the 4th one. The one with the
I don't think I've seen that
With
one.
Marky Mark?
I think I've only seen
yeah,
the
with
first
Mark
two.
Wahlberg. I think it was really good. Some people are like, "Oh, it sucked. We didn't get to see enough of the blah blah blah, blah blah." People are idiots. Like it's just a really good action movie. No one's going to a Michael Bay movie to be moved by the story. If you're going to a Michael Bay movie, you're doing movies wrong. Like you need to like check
Yeah.
yourself. I just love it. Like I could never get enough. Like there was like some concepts in one of the second movies. It was like the something of leadership was something they were pursuing. Like there's a stupid name for it. There's a stupid name for the bad guy, but I don't care. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's a bunch of fighting robots. Like what do
Just
you?
want to see them fight.
Yeah.
Crime or whatever.
Yeah, like what else do you need? It's stupid. So
One issue though, one main huge issue is Optimus's sword. Where was that for when they needed it a lot of the time?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a convenient plot. I mean, that's all it is at the end of the day.
Transformers is just
Yeah.
the epitome of convenient plot, gets them out of the situation. Why do we need this? It's for the plot.
Yeah. But we're not going to see it again. I actually really liked. I know we're just like talking,
fine.
but I loved
Conversational
as they started to do as the Transformers series moved on, is they gave humans like a role to actually do things, right? Because in the first movie, they're very much like just these helpless idiots that don't understand anything, and then they give them tools to fight back and to help out, and then you actually see them like take down a couple Decepticons, and it's just like that's really cool. That's what I want to see. People are like, oh, I don't care about humans fighting. I want to see Transformers fighting. It's like, no, that's a natural progression. Like eventually, humans, and in this case Americans, are going to figure out how to beat it, right? Because it's an enemy. We're going to shoot it until it dies. That's America in a nutshell.
Yep.
we'll make it bleed
So
and
I
kill it.
really love that about the movies, that they gave the humans a purpose and not just cannon fodder.
All right.
Woo!
I kind of want
That's
to,
good movies.
just based on where we're at, I want to go to this last question that I don't think you or I put in.
I think TVB put it in.
Yeah. And I'm interested in it. What would you think the worst possible superpower would be? Do you have one in mind?
Oh, wow. My friend originally gave me this question years and years ago, and his answer, which was a bit odd, was growing excess knee skin, like on demand. But that's not worthless.
That
You
is
could jump off a building, grow tons of excess knee skin, you'd be all right, you know?
Just land on it. Just got to land on your knees no matter what you do.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
How fast does it grow?
But I think...
That's so
I guess that would be the question. It's like you start the process and it just like
depends how
grows
hard
over
you
weeks.
squeeze, you know. It's like Play-Doh. You have to really, tense up, and then however tense you go, the quicker it goes.
I think you're doing Play-Doh wrong. I'm just
That's
That's awesome.
squeezing out the Play-Doh noodles. You're just like,
TV, what you doing? I'm just making my kneecaps.
Growing
Don't you
my
worry.
knees.
Oh boy, that is awful. That's that was a
But
way
my
different
personal
direction.
worst superpower would be to turn into a rock.
That's what I was about to say. I was like about to say the ability to turn into inanimate objects.
Yeah,
You can't turn back. Like, you're just a rock forever now.
You have to really be committed to it. Like,
Well, it's the end of
And
your
not,
life,
not even
right?
in the shape of your body.
You're like
just
getting ready
like a
to, you're getting ready to die. Like you're starting to get in pain. Like you say goodbye to everybody. Boom, rock. That's what I pick.
Oh, see, good
me with
point.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here you go. What's that? Oh, it's my pet rock, Grandpa.
they could really define a chip off the old block.
We don't make ashes anymore. We just make rock
Chip off
gardens.
the old block. Oh, that's pretty funny. Let's see. Worst superpower. Because when I read the question, I was thinking of like actual like superpowers, like in comic books and superheroes.
Oh, whoa.
And
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh well, that's I'd think like talking to fish, probably not a great one. I get that Aquaman makes it all well and good, but in the cartoons he's always just kind of goofy, and he's the one left out. Like Aquaman, you your powers are just not cool. Now, the Justice League movie and the new Aquaman movie eventually coming out, like, I'm sure they'll make it really good because Jason Momoa is an attractive human being, one that I would leave my wife for. I think everyone would concur on that one. Fair enough.
I think we're all in agreement there.
I'd leave my wife for that as well.
So I think something like that might be, but if I had to think of like a creative worst superpower, boy, I'm gonna have to come back to that one. You got anything, Jake?
Well, I had one and then someone took it.
What a jerk!
No, I heard it before. Like, what if you could? I mean, if you could turn back, you can turn into a tree. But you can turn like it's pointless. You just like turn into an object and you can just stand there. You're taking all the properties of that object and you can't move.
Yeah.
So it's like activate tree powers.
It makes me think of.
This looks like a job for Tree Man.
It makes me think of. There's a couple games that do it where you can turn in inanimate objects.
Dark Souls.
No, like
Prop Hunt.
Yeah, Prop Hunt, where you turn into like a prop and then you just have to stay as that prop and you try to
shuffle around
hide
the
from
map.
people. Something like that. Boy, creative superpower.
What about this superpower? Right, check this. This is. I only just thought of this, and it's mind blowing. Right. What about if you could stop time? Right. That sounds amazing, doesn't it? Sounds absolutely amazing. Except it means literally everything apart from you stops, including all of like the molecules in the air. So if you try and move, you'll get shredded.
It's just like the Earth stops moving, so the Earth stops moving, but you don't.
You just fly off.
I like to think. I mean, I think it could work if everything stops because it gives you time to think before an important decision. So let's say your wife asks you, "Hey, what do you want for dinner?" Stop time. Wait. Think about what you say, and then answer with the right thing. You guys know what that's like.
Yeah, but the problem is if everything stops, including the Earth, and you don't, like inertia is still in play.
I didn't even think about that.
The thought process would be that you would stop too. Like you could stop time, but everything, including you, is frozen.
But then you wouldn't be able to like restart time because even your synapses in your brain wouldn't work. Surely.
Whoa!
Look at
I was about to say, like, what happens if you can stop time, but you also stop with it?
And you can't start it again.
Well, you can start it, but it's going to take a minute.
Well, on that note, like, have you ever thought that somebody could be controlling time, pausing time, and then restarting time? Time could have been paused for thousands of years and then started again. We would never know.
I would accuse the Queen of England for that. She's been around for
quite a time.
That explains why she's 350.
Exactly.
I heard one option once where it was like you could stop time, but for every minute time was stopped, when you started again, it would jump forward an hour. So you could stop, do whatever you wanted to do, right? Say it takes 10 minutes. Well, then once you start time, it's 10 hours in the future.
That could be handy if you're about to do something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like if you're driving somewhere and like it's going to take you 3 hours to get there, stop time for 3 minutes.
Ooh.
Boom. Now you've just teleported through time.
But though, when time restarts and the hours go past really quick, do you continue on as if time hadn't stopped? So you would do the same actions in those 3 hours, or would you be in exactly the same place? Because if that's the case, you'd still be in the same place 3 hours later.
Well, I think you got to get in the car.
If you get what I'm saying.
And someone else has got to be driving.
Oh, okay.
That's how you cheat that system.
Yeah. There you go.
So like you don't drive.
Fair
You
enough.
like you hop in the car and be like, all right, I'm going to pause for 3 minutes. I'll see you when we get to.
I mean, it sucks to be
Kansas
your
City.
driver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
What would that look like for the person that time hadn't stopped for?
Like, would you just be frozen?
you just
hold like so magically still for 3 hours. You just like
I mean, the other person would get curious, where you start like poking them in the face.
you catch up and you feel everything they've done. Did you punch me in the chest?
Oh God!
But it takes that time to feel it. So like over the course of 3 hours, once you come back, like you just feel your face being poked.
Huh. Or would you...
Then what if there's a car crash as well?
Oh no!
Yeah, because what if the guy tricks you and like... But if you stop time, wouldn't you be in control of what happens? Or... Boy, that's a
Would you see the
quandary.
car moving 3 hours over the course of 3 minutes? Would you just see a time lapse?
Just
Also, if a car crashes
So many
and you
questions.
die while time is stopped, what happens?
Whoa, hey there, Mr. Paradox. Where'd you come from?
Whoa.
Jeez.
Also,
Yeah,
if you
that
freeze
superpower
time in a forest and then a tree falls down, like what happens to everything?
You hear it an
and
hour later.
sounds? If you're still there.
If you're still there, that's
Exactly. It depends if your car's moved or not.
man. That's boy. That's a really good superpower. but also really scary.
It's very paradoxical superpower.
Yeah, it is.
That's like whenever whenever you'd like wish for something, and there was a tiny little part of you that's like, what if this actually comes true? And so, if I ever wished for the ability to control time, I'd make my question very specific. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could control time in any way I wanted, whenever I wanted. Like, just in case something would go wrong. I think it's like monkey's paw or something. No, monkey's paw is when you do something different. But I just wanted to make sure that I'd stay safe.
That's good. I
Need
like
time
it.
with
So
ultimate
far, it hasn't
safety.
worked.
All right, man. That's real quick before we go. You want to give a quick pitch for the new series you're doing?
Oh, wow, yeah, okay. Basically, at the moment, I'm doing a series called TVB Tries. For the next 14 days, starting yesterday, so today will be number 2, I'm playing a new game every day. It's a small game usually. It's games usually that you guys have suggested. And after those 14 days, I'm going to get you guys to vote on which series you want on the channel. So hit me up and see if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'm personally super excited for the series. I think it's a good idea, if nothing, just to get you to try new games, because that's always fun. Who cares if people?
Yeah, that's true.
Who cares if people care? It's like you get to do stuff,
Play new video games.
But at the end of the day, like I think that's just a really fun thing, and I'm mad that we didn't think of it first, because now we can't do it. Because be like, oh man, we're doing.
Hey, I don't get
tries.
ideas. I get to have this one.
Yeah, it's a good one. But so
Thank you.
thanks for hanging out, man. It was good to have you on the podcast
worries.
for
Thanks
sure.
for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you guys go to TVBplays on YouTube, on Twitter. Follow him, love him, like, share, subscribe, all that mess. But we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.